Hey, this is Lance, your Sacramento private investigator and process server. And you are listening to What is a Process Server podcast. This podcast will teach you how to become a process server, how to market your process server business to get your own process server clients. And I am your host, Lance Casey. So stick around and let's see what it can do. Hey folks, this is Lance, your California private investigator and process server. And I'm your host of the What is a Process Server podcast. And I have a good friend of mine. She's an entrepreneur. She knows what she's doing. She can help you along the way in setting up and starting your process server business. Her name is Angela Lofton Moore, and she is the business coach of all time. So we're going to talk to her a little bit about setting up your process server business plan, because if you just get started and you know, like I did, I just would go this direction, that direction, didn't have any clue on what to do. But having somebody help you and coach you through setting it up so you can have a focus. So how you doing today, Angela?
I am doing great. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Okay, can you give us a little bit about what you do, how you got started, and you know what your focus is and what you're doing right now?
Absolutely. So after about 29 years of being in the business of designing voice and data networks for government agencies, hospitals, and school districts, I walked away from my corporate job and started a graphic design business. I actually started it before I walked out, but went full-time with my graphic design business, Info Princess Graphics. And that was in 2009. So it's been, 12 years. Never have gone back to work for anybody else. Yay. So
Okay.
Having your own business is definitely the way to go.
It is.
Over the years, of course, I also started More Park Enterprises, my nonprofit Beyond the Village. And of late, I have stripped out my coaching business as a standalone. So, but basically, all of my businesses are designed to do one thing. They interlock with each other very well because they're all designed to help small businesses.
Okay.
So whether you need graphics, logos, websites, Info Princess Graphics, if you need to set up a business, LLC, corporations, nonprofits, we do all that. If you've gone along a little bit and maybe things have stalled on you, or maybe you're not sure if you're doing everything, then we can also come in as your business coach, and we can help you through whatever's going on with your business, which, and we'll get back to that, but it's usually the numbers. Mm-hmm. And we then kind of walk you along. We can help you with, social media content. We can help you with your pricing, your profit margins, and all of that, because a lot of times that's the problem. Right. And we can help you with branding and marketing. We can help you with a CEO mindset. Sometimes you really just need to get out of your own head about being in business. And if you've always been an employee, that tends to happen. So we also can help you with that. Okay. So we're like a full service shop for small business owners.
Great. I'm going to tell you a little story about how we met. I was Facebook stalking because, I have a bunch of friends on Facebook, and I saw you were posting when you were getting ready to open up the Workflow Lounge. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's going on with this? And you kept posting these things about businesses being able to come in and, interact with each other and network with each other. So I actually became a client of Workflow Lounge, because it was a place where I could come as a business owner, small business owner, and have an office to use on basically a part-time as needed basis. So that's how we met each other. And then I just saw that you knew what you were doing. And I was like, you know what, let me interact a little more with this lady so we can work together. So we actually did some things together. Yes. So the audience knows I know Angela. I've sent her work. She sent me work. we work great together. And I highly recommend, if you're looking for this bit, some information on what the services that she offers, that you get a hold of her.
Absolutely.
So Angela, what if a person wants to become a process server?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say, I train them how to do the ins and outs of the job.
Okay.
But they need to learn how to structure the business, to put it in paper and writing, to give them a focus. Tell me about a business plan for a process server.
So a business plan for process server is going to include a few things. Optional things like your vision statement and your mission statement. That's not really the meat and potatoes for a process server, but you do want to make sure. And my recommendation is that you form an LLC for your process server business. Okay. And the reason for that is, and these are Angela's rules, if anytime you put something on a person's body, lotions, potions, whatever, in a person's bodies, drinks and whatever, mm-hmm. you deal with their parents, you deal with their kids, or you deal with their comfort zone, which the process server can mm-hmm. be dealing with comfort zone. Mm-hmm. You want to protect yourself and your personal assets behind an LLC. LLC gives you a veil of protection. And if you run your LLC properly, quotation marks, make sure it's run properly. Okay. Then if something happens, people are not going to be able to access your personal assets. They can only sue the LLC. Okay. Okay. And when I say run it properly, you should have your LLC. Make sure it's compliant. You filed your statement of information. You have a registered agent for service. Okay. You have an EIN number, and you have a separate bank account for that business. That's a key right there. That's the important part right there, because if you're mingling funds between your business and your personal life, and something happens, any attorney worth his salt is going to walk right through that corporate veil and say, they're commingling funds. This is not really a business. Yep. So those are the first things that you really want to take a look at. Okay. You want to take a look at how you're marketing your business, how you're branding your business. Does your branding make sense? And what is branding? What is branding? Branding. What is branding? Most people think it's just the logo. Okay. And it really isn't. Branding is creating something that people will connect to you. Whether it's a word, like, you see some of the branding, Sony, all they have is their name. Okay. Nike just has a swoosh. And some people just, the golden arches, that's always going to be McDonald's. Right. Some of them are logos, but you want to create something that in your client's mind immediately makes them think of you. Okay. And hopefully it was a good experience, or, the referrals are good, or, the testimonials are good. Right. So that they can start to connect working with you as being a positive experience. Okay. Because literally, I'm on a branding kick right now. Mm-hmm. I'm just blasting LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, mm-hmm. with photos and videos of me, and sometimes not me, but it's all has around process serving. That would be a brand for a process server, correct? It's a brand for a process server, and your brand, actually, believe it or not, a lot of people will say that your brand is your face, because people start to recognize it. You have you have some of the most expressive pictures of yourself. So, Lance Casey, process server, around here, that's a staple. People understand what that's all about. Okay. So, but the other thing is that people, when you're talking about marketing, mm-hmm. people don't understand the difference between selling and marketing. Mm-hmm. Selling is constantly having something in front of your prospect's face saying, here, buy this, buy this, buy this, go to my site, buy this, here, I'm having a sale, buy this. Right. People will get exhausted and they will start to tune you out. Right. What you want to do is exactly what you're doing. You want to show them what you do. Okay. You want to help them understand what you do without actually selling them anything. Right. You're just saying, hey, if you need to sue Walmart, well, guess what? Here, come with me, and I'll show you exactly what has to happen if you have to serve papers on Walmart. Okay. And it's not a sale; it's subject matter expert content.
There it is. Okay.
which is the best thing in the world for marketing. You don't want to be in their face trying to get them to buy something all the time.
Okay.
So you're doing good.
I'm trying to. So I'm sorry to cut you off. So if you remember
okay.
where you left off, keep going.
Where was I? I don't remember.
The business plan, the marketing
business
aspect,
plan.
and
So the
branding. So branding,
Right.
we just talked about marketing, branding.
Right. So the structuring, again, we talked about having an LLC. You can make it a corporation. Not really necessary for a process server. Corporations are there if you want to sell stock in your business.
Mm-hmm.
But you do your branding, you do your marketing, and you do your pricing, and you do a budget. A business plan is a wonderful tool when you're trying to create funding for your business.
Okay.
Let's say you want to open an office and you need a copier and you need furniture and you need all this other stuff. You can use your business plan with a budget in it to go to places like SBA, SBDC. They will help you get a loan. By the way, just as a statement of fact, those people don't loan you money. They back loans that you get from financial institutions.
Okay.
So, but having a business plan that makes sense, in other words, having all of your expenses, and as small business owners, for some reason, we never put our salary into a business
Mm-hmm.
plan. So salary has to be in there, all of your expenses, and that way you can figure out how many process server jobs you need in order to cover your expenses.
Okay.
And you may have different ones. We all have, the smaller ones, the medium-sized ones, the ones you have to sit on for 3 days before you can serve anybody.
Right.
So those are all different prices.
Okay.
And so you have to figure out how to go after them. And you need to figure out who you want to target. Targeting the general public might be a lot tougher than just maybe targeting attorneys in your area.
Mm-hmm.
Legal, what do you call them? Paralegals, people who help people fill out paperwork, for their, whatever their lawsuit, whatever their legal needs are.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be able to do that. And you do want to put a pretty nice bio about yourself, because people want to, if they're going to lend you money, they're going to want to know what kind of experience you have.
Okay.
And even if you don't have experience, now you're training them, you may be able to create a certificate program. I don't know if you do certificates for people.
Okay.
But they could use that to put into their business plan.
Okay.
To say, hey, I took training from this guy.
Right.
And this is his history. I mean, you've got an impressive background. So that would go a long way towards helping them with their business plan too.
Okay. Now let's talk about the pricing, because I get this question a lot from people that are just starting out as process servers. Mm-hmm. What do I charge? and so what I tell them, well, you have to look at what other people are charging in your area.
Yep. That's absolutely a good way to go. Mm-hmm. I tell people, don't charge by the hour. Never, ever, ever charge by the hour. People will nitpick you and nickel and dime you and ask you where you were all 60 minutes of that hour.
Right.
You want to have flat rate pricing for everything.
Right. So what I do, and I'll tell you what I do.
Yeah.
What I tell them is figure out what's going on in an area and charge more. This is what I do. Charge a little bit more, because when people call me, price isn't the issue.
Right.
It's not the issue. It's really, they want a quality service, and they've seen what I do and they get a quality service. So they'll pay me a little bit more than everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I do the same thing with my coaching. I am not the least expensive coach out there by far.
Right. But
I have 12 years of entrepreneurial experience. I know where all the pitfalls are. Mm-hmm. I can keep you from falling into them. And, I'm a charm to work with. So what's exactly. Not to love?
Okay. And then one of the things we were talking about too, you just mentioned, is who do you target? Because mm-hmm. targeting the general public as process server, you've got a lot of competition if you're just trying to just service everybody.
Right.
And so what I like to do is niche it down to specifics and then just target that niche. And an example would be CSC Lawyers Incorporating Service. They're the registered agent. They get served hundreds of documents every day because that's all that they do.
Right.
So I target them specifically and all these things that I'm doing on social media. It's really specifically just for that location because it's super simple to take 10 page cases to CSC at one time, drop it off, and I'm done.
Yep. No, I
love
I absolutely agree. And you've done a great job with that because you have your ads saying, do you need to sue DMV? Do you need to figure out how to serve DMV papers? Do you know how to serve the Secretary of State papers? And you have done a marvelous job with SEO on that because when you go to Google and you say, hey, I need to serve papers to the Secretary of State, chances are you're going to be the number one spot in there.
Number 2, number 3, number 4 is the goal. Yeah, I want to take up the whole page. That's the goal.
Exactly.
Take up the whole page. But that's another course that I'm going to talk about in the future in some future podcasts on how to dominate your niche.
Yes.
On searches.
Absolutely.
That's the key, is dominate your niche on searches.
Yes.
But go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
So and charging a little bit more, there's a couple of things with that. It's a little bit psychological because they feel like they're hiring the best because it costs a little bit more.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying, charge 3 or 4 times more than everybody else. That's probably not going to fly.
Right.
But if if everybody else is charging 100, you might be able to do 125 or 150 and get away with it. And it comes down to quality. So make sure you say what you're going to do and you do what you said you were going to do, and ask people for referrals. Ask them to write you a review, ask them to write you something that says you did a good job and put that on your website. People will look at the reviews. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a Yelp fan. I would never go to Yelp to get a review on anything because they have told me that they took my 5-star reviews down for restaurants because I don't do enough reviews. Not because I'm bad, but because I don't do enough according to their schedule.
Right.
So they're a little bit suspect to me, but if you put that stuff on your website, then as you grow, and let's say you do a Facebook Live and you talk about what you do, have a page on your website that has all of your reviews and send people there.
Yep.
Record stuff like Lance and I are doing here, and put those live recordings onto your website because testimonials are gold.
They are. They are. Literally, they are. And I'm going to tell you, this is my secret. What I do is every time I send somebody an invoice through QuickBooks payments, as soon as they pay, their name and email gets automatically populated to my contact management software. And then I pre-filled it with, letters or emails that says, hey, thank you for your business. I'll be getting on it as soon as possible. That's like the first one, a day or 2 later. Hey, guess what? If you need to serve documents nationwide, we can help you with that. And then there's several of them, but I actually ask for reviews in those emails and I ask for referrals in those emails. And it's crazy because as soon as I set it up 2 or 3 weeks later, people are like, yeah, I got it, such and such referred me. Or the person will be coming, repeat customers will come back because it keeps me in front of them so that they know that I'm the one that needs to serve their documents and I'm getting serves other areas in my own because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I do, pretty much the same thing. I have QuickBooks. I have the people that I've done business with, and I have it go to my MailChimp. And actually did a Black Friday email blast. I did a Cyber Monday email blast for coaching clients, and it worked out really well because these are people that already know the company name. I didn't have any one person opting out. They know Moore Park Enterprises. So, but it's you really want to make sure that you do a couple of things. You want to make sure you stay compliant, Having an LLC, your compliance is every other year you have to file a statement of information and cost you $20 online.
Right.
Don't let that drop. Make sure you're registered with Franchise Tax Board. Franchise Tax Board in California does charge you $800 a year minimum tax.
Boo.
It's the price of living in California.
I know. That's California for it. I can't stand it. Boo, but okay.
But you know what? If they do it this month, they don't have to pay. I mean, they're still, this year alone, still, if you do an LLC in California, you can skip the first year of $800. So that gives you.
Really?
Yes. So you can, they waive that for the first year for any LLC that's created in 2021. I don't know that that'll carry over to 2022. They haven't said anything.
Okay.
But you can save yourself $800 on having an LLC in California because you filed it in 2021. And if you need help with that, guess what? I'm here to help you.
Hey,
Park Enterprises, this is what we do. And we're only charging $325 for the rest of the year.
Okay.
For LLCs. So we're carrying our Black Friday discount all the way through the end of the year.
So do you include being a registered agent? If you
We do.
Oh,
We
so
include
literally I
being
come serve you.
I've had my clients being served. Yes. Yes, we do provide the registered agent service. We also, if you need a virtual office address, you can use Workflow Lounge's address as your business address. So, you're a single mom, you don't want to, your process server, which is kind of a risky business, you don't want people to know where you live necessarily. Right. And you have to have a street address in order to start your LLC.
Okay.
So our virtual office address and the registered agent is included in the price for 1 year.
Okay.
So you don't have to do anything for the first year. Everything will be completely done. You should, of course, get a business license.
Right.
Get business insurance. Mm-hmm. And just make sure you're compliant and you're running that business like a business.
Right.
So.
That makes sense. Now, in reference to that virtual office, this is a kind of a kicker about that is, because I'm always into marketing stuff. Mm-hmm. So in order to get on the Google Maps listing, mm-hmm. So somebody types in process server Sacramento, you want to be one of the top 3 that show up that Google lists. Mm-hmm. That's your Google listing. And that's based most of the time in order to get that, you need an address. You don't want to use your home. You want to use a business location. So if they literally could use your office address, which in essence is theirs too, because it's virtual. Right. And now you can get in that Google My Business listing.
Absolutely.
Because I've done it several times through their office there. It works.
Yep.
Here's one right here. Google My Business. They give you a code. You type this into the code, and that's how you register your Google My Business listing.
Yep. And you want to do that right up front, where you want to get everything online as much as possible. You want to get your name recognition. So your business name recognition, which is part of your branding process. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do necessarily with logos and anything like that, but branding your name so that when people hear it, they know what it is.
Right. And what I say about that name, the process server name, to me, it should, the business name should contain what you do and the area that you serve. That now you may differ, but that's why I like it, because
no, it's right. We just didn't do that with ours. We just have we serve for you.
Right.
We don't have it specialized to an area, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So there's no mistaking what we do, whether you look it up or you look on our website, you know exactly what we do. So
yeah, but like I go like process server Sacramento County is one of my business names. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows where it is. It shows up local.
Yeah.
Or best Sacramento process server. That's one of my business names. So those are little tricks of the trade that I will talk a little bit about more in some future podcasts on how to, get your Google My Business listing and choosing the right name so that you can get your website to show up and your Google listings to show up at the top of the search results, because that's how people find you. If they don't know you, they're searching Google or one of these search engines, and then you want to show up on the top.
Yeah. And you want to be able to use that information in your business plan too. You can put in there that, I market, I'm listed on Google, I'm listed here, I'm listed here, I'm listed
Okay.
here. So people know that you've done some actual work to be in this business.
Mhm.
You just didn't, decide one morning, oh, I'm going to be a process server and now I'm looking for money. You can actually show that you have put some effort into it, you've put some thought into it, which goes a long way towards people actually giving you money. So
Oh, okay.
make that part of your plan.
And anything else you'd like to add about the business plan start before we wrap this up a little bit?
No, I mean, you can do a very basic business plan that has, just the things that we talked about, or you
Mhm.
can even go a little bit more, like what area are you covering? Who's your competition in those areas? How
Okay.
do your prices compare to the competition? Why should people pay more to use you? You have an opportunity to showcase what you want to do with that business.
Okay.
So that's not normally required, especially for a startup, but it's very impressive when it's in the marketing plan.
Okay.
Because again, it shows initiative, it shows that you've put work into it. So
Okay. Well, check this out. How do people get a hold of you? What do they got to do to find you? Because you know what you're doing. You got this down. Especially if you're trying to save this $800 that you have to pay the
Yes.
state. How do they get a hold of you to set it up? What do they do?
So they call. My office hours are 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. because I'm in business for myself.
Exactly. Ding. I love it.
So 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and you can reach me at 866-887-3737. That's 866-887-3737. And we'll schedule a time to talk for a few minutes. And if you decide you want to do this, which I can't imagine at this point, if you're really serious about getting into business, by the way, we do LLCs in any state. So
Okay.
California, we give a $25 discount for every place, but all the rates are different. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are cheaper in
Right.
other states. So in California, it happens to be that we're charging $325 for the rest of this year. So just through the end of December. And it includes everything we talked about. And again, the number is 866-887-3737. And my name is Angela Lofton Moore, and I'd love to help you out.
Well, great, Angela. I'm going to put your contact information in the description of this video and the podcast, and it'll have links to your website also. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they'll be able to find you easily.
Okay.
And so I really appreciate you coming on with us and on this podcast titled, What is a Process Server? Because that's what I do. That's how I make a living. And I'm trying to help as many people as I can get away from having a job and doing stuff for themselves. Because I remember, like, when I was a police officer, if I wanted time off, I had to, can I have the day off, please? And turn a request in. Nope, we're too short staffed. Now, you know what? I just ain't doing nothing because it's my business. I love this. And that's
all of a sudden there's a video of Lance fishing.
Exactly. And guess what? I'm gonna film it and put some text on it about process serving and upload it to everything. And it's like, oh, well, he does have a life besides just serving people to show that interaction.
Yeah.
But hey, we're gonna go now. I held you up long enough. So
thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on.
You're quite welcome. Thanks for having me.
Hey, this is Lance. Thanks for listening to my podcast. I hope you gathered the information that you were looking for, and I would leave a positive review and subscribe to be notified when we upload additional podcasts. And also, if you're looking for training on how to become a process server, or training or how to market your existing process server business, click one of the links below to receive additional information.